Hi guys, Samantha from Jessica Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a pansy cane. So you're going to need two skinner blends for this, and these are Premo colours, so you will have seen the colour recipes in the slide at the start of the video, and so these are the colours that we are going to be needing. You can use any colours you want, but these are the ones that I want to use today. Okay, so you're going to need white, this is just plain white, colour 1, colour 2, colour 3 again, and colour 4. Again, white, colour 1, colour 2, colour 3, colour 4. Then in this one you're going to need colour 2 and colour 3. Okay, so I'll put that away. And then also you're going to have made colour 5 and colour 6, and you're going to want to have turned them into a skinner blend plug. So that's colour 5, colour 6. Turn it into a skinner blend plug and just rolled it out. Now I've already done a tutorial on YouTube on how to do a skinner blend plug, so you can go and check that out. It's really simple, and then all I did was I quickly rolled it into a round. Okay. So I'm going to go turn these skinner blends into fully constructed skinner blends. And just a side note, colour, colour 4, you want to leave about half of it because you're going to need that later on plain. Okay, so I finished up the skinner blends. So the one with colour 3 and colour 2 in it, I've just turned into a skinner blend plug, as you can see. And we're going to use that later. Then for colour number 4 that is on its own, I've turned into a sheet that is about 1mm thick, and it's quite a long sheet, as you can see. So let me just pop that off to the side. And then the other skinner blend, I have turned, this is the 1mm thick sheet. The other one that I just showed you is 0.5mm thick. So you can see that this one's quite long, and it's a nice skinner blend all the way through. Now the important thing here to remember is that the colour that is on its own needs to be half the thickness of the skinner blend sheet that I just showed you. So this is 0.5mm thick. That other one that I just showed you is 1mm thick, and that is quite important. Okay, so now you just want to cut this into strips, just like this. And try and keep them same thickness. So just cutting up a few quickly. I'll move that out the way. And I'll do the same for the skinner blend. I'll just trim up that end. And then cut strips again. They're about the same width as the other ones that you just trimmed. Be enough for now. Move this out the way, and I'm resting these on paper just for the moment so that they're easy to lift up and down, they don't stick to anything. Okay, so you'll take one of these and you need to find the darkest side. So this is my darkest side, and you just need to remember that because these need to be laid over that side, and they just need to go above the white a bit. So kind of like an egg hat cane. Then you place the next one over it. And then another dark one. And they don't have to all be the exact same height up the strip. These strips don't have to align exactly, so you can move it up a little, you can move it down a little bit. That's completely up to you. But just continue doing this until you have used up both of your sheets. Okay, so here it is. Now you'll notice that it does have these bends on each side, and I swapped it round as I was busy popping the things on. Another thing is I've got this side ending with the skinner blend and this side ending with the one colour. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get into a square. So first just gently tap back down these ends. There. And then gently start squeezing in the middle here to get it stretched out. There we go. And I'm just going to be pressing on the top as well to even it out. Okay. I can start to see that working. There we go. And then I'm just going to press on these ends to get that squared out. And now you need to reduce it. And now this can be a bit of a task because you don't want to distort these ends. So the longer you make these pieces, the easier this will be to reduce, but then you're going to need to use more clay because the longer these pieces, the less you can actually stack them together to create this kind of ikat cane. So this is basically how thick I've made it. I've made about 1.5 centimeters thick maybe. But if you're new or you don't like reducing canes very much, or you're not very good at doing that, then make them a bit thicker and it will make your life a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just going to reduce this as a rectangle. And once I've got it down to a size where I can cut out 4 pieces, then we can start actually assembling our flower, because then we need to mold this into the shape of petals as well. Okay, now you want to cut off these ends and keep those. You can do lots of stuff with that. There we are, that's basically what we have on the end there. Now if you didn't have enough of these little stripes, you could just take your cane, so you would cut it in half and put it together again just like that, and then squish that back down into a square. But I'm quite happy that these lines are fine enough. Okay, so now I want to cut this in 4, and you can see what it looks like in the middle there. It's really nice. You can use this as a petal on its own, you don't have to turn it into a pansy. This would make a very nice flower petal cane. Just cut it into 6 then and mold it into a teardrop shape, and just proceed like you would if you were making a normal flower cane. You can see that looks quite nice. Okay, so now we've got 4. I'm just going to bring over this one, and this needs to be reduced into basically the exact same size as these. This is going to form the 2 top petals of the pansy. Okay, and you're also going to need this little one that we made earlier. It's basically the same as this, just rounded. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside, and 2 of these I'm going to go put aside. These are the ones that we want to work on. Now we want to make this into almost a semicircle with a dip in the middle. So if you were to look at a pansy cane, you would see something like that. Okay, so let's see, where do I want to start? I need to start by pinching this in. And I need to bring this part round. Okay, this is a little bit of a procedure. And now everything that you're doing with this one, you want to do with the other one. Okay, you want to be careful not to reduce it as you're doing this, so just gently pat on the edges every now and then. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm busy curling this in. So this is going to form half of our semicircle. There we go. I'm going to just carry on bringing that around. And I'll worry about rounding up these edges when I have done that. I just need to be bringing this in and around. You need to be careful not to form folds though. You need to have this happen nicely and neatly, no folds. So you can see there's a little bit of a fold there, just gently pinch that out. Continue folding this around. Okay, there we go. So that's going to form one half. Now I'll do the same on this one. Okay, so here we are. We've basically formed half a circle, and you can see that we've curled this part around so that it's made it a rounded piece instead of a square piece. So you're just bringing this bit around and curling it in, and this bit's getting pushed in towards the center. And you'll do the same with this one, and we're probably going to do the same with the other ones here, but for the moment we're going to be working with these. So these two pieces need to be touching, and this bit needs to come up. And now this bit, you really just need to go and get a photo of a pansy. It will just make your life a lot easier. Okay, and I'll just round that out. Okay, so somewhat like that. So this one, and now this one. So you're just stretching one corner and bringing the other bit up. Okay, so here we are. So one side has been dragged up so that you're curling these bits in towards the center. Then this other bit has just been roughly pinched. So you can see a difference. And you've should have done the same on the other side. I'm just going to round out this base, make sure they're the same size. Okay, and then you want to place the two together. Okay, and I just need to round this out a little bit more to get to touch. There we go. So that you now have a dip down here, which is quite important. I'll just use this tool. There we go. And now you also want to have a dip here, but that you want to create yourself. So I'm just going to use this tool to gently roll in there. And then we'll bring over this. Cut off a small piece. And I'm just quickly going to reduce it. Because you don't need much at all for this. Okay. I'll just trim up its ends. And now you want to lay it orange side down. Okay, so that's our first bit. This bit just needs to come in a little bit more, just a bit. Bit more rounded over here. Press that in. Okay, and then I'll put that back in. And then I just want to take a slice to see how it's looking. So that's our bottom piece. So I need to be able to see this dark bit. So I'm going to take this and press down quite a bit more. And then insert this. Then I'll just take a slice. Okay, and just taking a slice will mean that you can see what you're working with. Okay, and remember to keep this somewhat open as you're working. Okay, put that to the side. And then we'll work with this. Now you need to round these into petals, so just bring this over and bring this over as well. Okay, so here are each of my pieces, and you can see that I've rolled them so that this bit's now rounded in the middle. So now you need to put them together. Got just a little bump over here that I need to tend to. The tricky thing is here that you need to have them equal. So I'll just start on one side here, like that, and I need to press this bit up. Like that. And now don't worry if this bit gets a little bit flattened. Try to keep it from doing that. But if it does get a little flat, don't worry too much about it. Okay, then on this side, this bit needs to be placed in here. And now neither of these actually touch on the petal, on the actual flower. So just busy moulding it into the correct shape. This really is a bit of trial and error each time to get it into the right spot. There we go, just like that. Now I'm just going to press it so that I can open this bit up. And I'll just bring this in here to gently form these around it, because there's a bit of a cavity over here in the flower. Let me just see how that looks. Just need to press this down a little bit further. So just get yourself a photo and then rely on the photo more than what I'm doing, because it really is going to vary from project to project. This whole shaping bit takes a bit of practice to get. Okay. Put that in again. Okay, there, I'm quite happy with that. I think that's the right shape. And I'll just gently round it out. Okay, and don't allow them to touch. Don't want them touching. And I'm just going to take a slice to see how it looks so far, to decide whether I like it or not. And I'm just, after looking here, oops, I want these ends to come in a bit, so to curve round and touch. So I'll just Move that out away enough for me to work with this. Just going to be pressing that down. Gonna do the same on this side. And I'll actually squeeze them together for a moment, just to get them into the right spot. Yeah, and then I'm going to use this tool to press that into the spot that I need it. Okay. Then these need to be rounded out. And just whenever you're rounding it out, if it comes apart, you need to just go in here and press them together again. Okay. Now I'm just going to go down here, and I want to round out here as well, because this has got a bit squished. So I'm just going to use my fingers to do this. Around the entire thing. Okay. And I'll just bring this in to open this up again. Do the same on this side. This needs to be opened. Okay, and I'm just going to trim off this, see how it looks. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It's a little bit distorted, so let me just round that out a bit more. Now I'm just going to open up here, because we need to pop those other pieces in. And down here I'm actually going to bring over a piece of translucent to keep this bit open. So I'm just busy rolling a piece of translucent in my hands. Pull that up. I'll pop it into there, and that will keep it open for us. Right, so now I'm just going to pop that to the side, and these I need to round a bit as well. So I'll just press on each side and start rounding it, just like we did for these ones over here. But it doesn't need to be rounded as much, it's just I want to bring the blend around a bit. Okay, so once you've got it into a half circle like that, you want to start pinching. Just like this. Just go around it so that it turns into a teardrop. And I've already prepared one over here. Okay, and then just pinch this out quite thin. Okay, and then you need to curl it in a bit. Like that. And I'm just gonna pinch this out a bit more because this needs to fit into this bit over here. There we are. And I pinch that together. Start forming a stalk. I just want to check, going to fit? Yes. I just want to make sure that these aren't too big either, so I just need to stretch this out a bit because it is a little bit big for the pansy. Petals are a little bit oversized. Okay, that will work. So I just want to quickly trim it again there. Trim over there. And we will fit this bit in. Gently press. Okay, and I'm just busy rounding it out a bit. Okay, now I just want to give it a slice to see what it's going to look like. Make sure that those petals aren't too big or anything like that, but I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So I'll just trim this side as well. So I like to see what it looks like on both sides. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. So now we need to pack this with translucent, and this can take a little while. So first what we want to do is we want to assess what areas we want to keep with bumps. So I'm going to just take a piece of translucent. Now the translucent that I'm using is Premo because I find that Premo is more translucent than the Kato translucent, but I like to work with Kato with canes. So this is Premo translucent. Okay, and I'm just busy going to reduce it into a log. And it needs to be fairly thin, don't want it too thick. Okay, just trim off that end, trim that up and reduce it a little bit more. Okay, I want a little bit here just to mark off that bit there. Okay, and I want one here, 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 and here. Okay. So there you are, I've got all of those little bits plugged in. Now I've got a sheet of translucent that was rolled out on my thickest setting. I'm just busy trimming up these bits. There we are. Okay, I'll just start at the top there. And wrap around. And I'm just going to press on that spot. Form where I need to trim. And that should fit in perfectly. Just pack this translucent away. Okay, and that is all the translucent you should need. You shouldn't really need to pack it any more than that. Now you're going to reduce this as a round, but you might want to actually form it into an oval cane once you finish reducing. There you go, it'll just start reducing. just starting on one end, and I'll start on the next end. And now I think I'm also going to form a cane using the leftovers that I have, because I do have a few leftovers. Okay, now I'm just going to reduce it into a few sizes, because we're going to be using this in a project where we're going to want multiple sizes. So you can see that it reduces fairly quickly. I recommend reducing on the day that you make it, definitely. And I recommend trying to make your cane all in one day, because then either make all of your cane in one day and then reduce, or if you can't make your cane all in one day, make it all, then let it rest for about 12 hours and then come and reduce it. Of course, the easier option is to just make it all in one day, but if you can't do that, then just let it rest so that all of your clay is basically the same consistency. Because if you start reducing it and you've only done half of it and the other half you did maybe 2 days ago, you're going to find that one part is stiffer than the other, which will reduce slower than the rest, and so you'll get a lot more distortion in your piece. So you want it all to be the same consistency. So if you make and reduce it on the same day, it will be really nice and easy to reduce. It will all be the same consistency and be nice. If you make it in 2 parts, with 2 days in between, when you finish making the cane, rest it for at least 12 hours to get everything cold and to the same consistency, and then reduce. But it's going to be slower to reduce because you'll need to warm it up again. Okay, there we are. Take a slice, and oh, that looks so nice. Very happy with that. I'll just trim off the other end. Now I'm going to do a few sizes. This will probably be my largest, and so I will cut this roughly in half and put one section aside, then reduce the next section down a bit, cut it in half, set one half aside, reduce, cut in half, and repeat. Okay, and so I will do that. Okay. So I've reduced it down into my sizes. So here is my largest, and you can see quite a bit of detail in there. And there you can see the other side as well. So that's the largest one. Here's the next size. You can see quite a bit further down. Then that's the next one. That one's quite a bit smaller. And these sizes are all up to you. I just reduce it down into no particular size. I just reduce it down as far as I can until I get to these like really, really small ones. And I really love these ones because you still retain a lot of that detail. And so I love to reduce it down from this to this. Okay, so that is our pansy cane. So I'm going to just set this aside to maybe rest for an hour or so, just because it's fairly warm, and so to slice it now would be a little silly, because you're going to slice your cane while it is quite warm, and so it's going to distort a bit. So I just want to give you a glimpse of what we're actually going to be making today. So here is a pansy cane that I made a while back, and it was basically made the exact same way. And this is what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to show you how to do this bit, and then there will be a crackle on each side.